Climate change is one of the greatest threats facing our planet. An overwhelming scientific consensus links the causes of climate change to human activities.
It is very clear now that it is human activity that has resulted in climate change. No God decided there is going to be climate change. We cannot push the blame away from ourselves to somebody else. We cannot even say there is no climate change because every day we experience it in every part of the world.
Small states like the Maldives and least developed countries are hardly responsible for climate change. Yet it is these nations that are suffering the most. These countries believe that developed nations who bear the primary responsibility for greenhouse gas emissions have to help them combat the effects of climate change.
We need the adaptation finance for this, so the bigger developed countries should have the appropriate financing for us as pledged in the agreement, Paris Agreement, for us to start our adaptation work. And not only to Maldives, Maldives as a chair of Alliance of Small Island States, we also want all the small island states to have the proper adaptation funds available for their adaptation work.
With the Paris Agreement, the world seemed to be committed to fight against climate change more than ever. But US President-elect Donald Trump, being a climate change denier, has threatened to pull out of that deal. This is leading to serious concerns in the international community.
Paris deal in itself is not the savior of the world. Implementing the Paris deal in its entirety and more is what is going to make the Paris deal successful. We have to keep in mind, as much as countries have made commitments, will all of them keep the commitments? That danger exists. There's a great worry that Trump will go back on the climate deal. If he does that, it'll be the most foolish thing he's done besides other foolish things he may do.
Despite the prospect of the US pulling out of the Paris Agreement in a Trump presidency, the global community is still hoping otherwise.
We have to wait until he takes over office and see what will be his policy. So far we know from the television, but we have to really wait that ultimately what will be his decision in terms of policy on climate change. But the global community and UN hopeful that he will continue, he will respect the climate change agreement that US has already agreed.
Whether the US pulls out of the Paris deal or not, countries around the world seem to be united in the fight against climate change.